Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Alex, and welcome back to some Suzerain. So, in the last episode, we did a couple of things. One of which was, we kind of made some kind of economic choices that we may or may not later bite us in the ass. Essentially, the city of Lanchev here had two different projects. One was to build a high rail speed through this kind of region, or one where we built a more traditional railway through the more poorer region of the country. So I chose to help the poorer region for a little bit. And, well, also another thing that's kind of important, but, you know, it's going to bite us in the ass a little bit, is I did pass in a bill that I think it's going to be in Journal. Let's see. Yeah, I allowed a new electoral campaign finance bill to be passed. Now, what happens is, what that means is that if we look at, say, the governmental overview, I figured this was going to show us what it looked like, but... Okay, yeah, the General Assembly. Essentially now, if you don't have a certain amount of votes here, you don't get funding from the government, is essentially... Like, you don't get a stipend. And the PFJP, which is the reformists that we've been trying to, you know, ensure that, you know, they work with us. So Reichter, we're trying to get Reichter on our side because the ultimate goal is we're trying to agree with the reformists to form a new constitution at some point. But yeah, something that is important is that it seems we have economic stability. In the graph below, you can track the economic stability change over time and use the filter to explore historical data. Stability, low, current, high. Last 5 changes, last 10, last 15, all time. So at some point, we had high stability, but we are stable. Our economy is stable, which is pretty good. Also, we have something over here, the Republic of the report, and that's just to congratulate us on having a president. Our capital has stuff. Invest in the Arcasia company stock. Invest in Arcasia company stock. A personal investment opportunity has been relayed to Mr. Manager. Gus Manager. Oh, he's one of the 3 guys that's a part of our team of... Experienced stockbroker of Ventral City. Arcasia is selling valuable shares of Armenian Industries, an up-and-coming electronics manufacturing company. We could invest and let the opportunity pass. Ooh. I think we'll buy electronics. Okay, so if I think properly, we have 3 personal wealth. I think we should buy 1,000 shares. We decreased our personal wealth for a little bit, but our hope is that will allow us to eventually be able to make the economy a little bit more stable. This is going to take 2 years to finish the construction of, from my understanding. No new news. Interesting. Let's see what there's more. Reception at the inaugural ball. More reading. I had just finished buttoning up my suit jacket when the doorbell rang. The presidential guard had arrived to pick us up from the inaugural ball. The ball was a 3-decade-old tradition, breathless anticipation by politicians, bureaucrats, and the press. All eyes were about to be on me. I called on Monica, my wife, if I remember correctly, my wife, to get the children ready. Looking in the mirror, I strained my tie and took a deep breath. After tonight, there would be no turning back. Suddenly, Dina hugged me from behind, startling me a little. Monica fixed up her hair as an elaborate braid woven through with ribbons. Papa! Mama told me it's time to go. Hello, darling. I am ready. Where is your brother? I think Frank is still upstairs. She shrugged. It's almost time to leave. The ball starts in less than an hour. Darling, Frank, it's time. Came down the stairs. She was wearing a simple yet elegant beige seathed dress and short heels. Her hair has been nearly pinned into a chignon, showing off the pearl earrings I had given her on our 15th anniversary. Of all those years she had stayed by my side, now we were about to begin the most challenging chapter in our lives. How do you do, Mr. President? embrace her. You look as gorgeous as the day we married. Now, there's the charm that got you elected. Frank trudged down the stairs. Frank is old? Oh, he's in high school, I see. This thing itches. Frank tugged at the collar of his new tuxedo. He seemed ill at ease. I'm glad to have you with us for the big night. Sure, Dad. I'm just dying to go. But are these people going to be around us from now on? She pointed at the presidential guards at the door of the house. These people are friends, Dina. It's alright, baby. They're here to make sure nothing bad happens to your papa or his family. Monica helped Dina's, and together they flanked by the guards, we walked out the door. Halfway to the car, Frank stopped the running towards me. Dad, do I really have to go? Couldn't I have stayed home instead? I'm nervous myself, Frank, but I feel more confident with my son by my side. Reluctantly. Well, when you put it like that, sure, let's go. The presidential guard showed us to the way as red and blue lights flashed around us. Surge. My driver ushered us into our armored limousine. The motorcade started moving towards the palace. I gazed out the window deep in thought. And Anton, what are you thinking about? Nothing nice cars it will fill the town. We've come a long way, haven't we? Yes, we have, and there's still so much we have accomplished side by side. Just remember, no matter what happens, the children and I will always be here for you. I'm going to help Papa fix everything. Frank rolled his eyes. I know you will, honey. It's been a great deal to me. After what seems like just a few minutes, the convoy slowed to a halt. So they rolled down the limousine's soundproof partition. We are here, sir. Hope you enjoyed the drive. Much appreciated. How are you today? I am just as good as I can, but today is your day, sir. I'm glad you are in charge now. You know, my entire family voted for you. I won't let your family down, Sarge. I don't doubt that, sir. You are the one who sparked a glimmer and hope in all of us. Sarge opened the door for us. The normal, imposing palace was festooned with garnished banners that nearly made it look cheerful. A line of shiny luxury sedans stretched all around it. Politicians, bureaucrats, and celebrities, the creme de la creme of the Sorland elite, streamed inside the building. Good luck out there, Mr. President. I'll see you on the trip home. I stepped out and immediately found myself surrounded by loud voices and camera flashes. Hordes of eager journalists thrust their portable microphones my way. My guards fended most of them off, but one woman managed to dodge them and corner me. I recognized the Swedish Broadcasting Company on her breast lanyard. Mr. President! Mr. President! Do you have plans on working with the opposition party on the expected constitutional reforms? We are going to work with everyone. Mr. Rector clarified that as long as you hold your promises of democratization, they will support you on these issues. What do you think about that statement? We want the other parties to join him on this endeavor. One more question. One of your first acts as president was to sign a campaign finance law allocating public funds by seats as opposed to number of votes. Is this a deliberate attempt to defund the Communist Party and the Buddha Works Party, neither of which have reached the... It was agreed on by a majority of the GNA. I couldn't use my veto on the first day. That's enough, ma'am, said one of my guards, while nudging the reporter away from me. A path through the crowd was now open and was quickly made our way to the entrance of the palace. At the same time, a dozen fireworks went off. Interesting. The entrance was decorated with beautiful ribbons in Sorland's colors of white, yellow, and maroon. A lush maroon carpet has been rolled down the stairs. We entered the lobby and joined the throngs of people making their way towards the ballroom. Hey, it's Peter! He was the first to arrive. 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 He Peter! Behind me I heard a familiar voice. Hey, Peter! There they are, the most beautiful family in Sorland. Uncle Peter! Hi, Uncle Peter. Great to see you. You two are growing faster than I am getting wiser. Are you sure you got any wiser? You're a sight for sore eyes, Peter. Likewise. Happy to see a familiar face, Peter. Evelyn. Peter's wife approached us and shook her hands with firmness that belied her delicate features. Congratulations, Antoine, I have to say. The results were clear to me from the beginning. Appreciate it, Evelyn. Thank you. We both worked hard to make it happen. I wish I was as sure as you. There is a woman behind every successful man. What a gentleman. Monica smiled at me. Monica, how are you? You barely said a word. I'm more than relieved to have this roller coaster ride over with, but of course, now the real work begins. Ah yes, managing the help, planning parties, daily trips to the salon to make your best for foreign dignities. Don't be so old-fashioned, Evelyn. I plan to use my power as First Lady to advance the position of women throughout Sorland. Equal rights for our sex are long overdue, wouldn't you say, Antoine? Absolutely, and we'll work together to achieve that. Monica flashed a smile at me. Dina suddenly jumped in between us and tugged at my sleeve. Papa, can we go? I want to see the ballroom. Of course, darling. Let's not delay any longer. Move to the ballroom. We left the room and made our way towards the ballroom. Inside, we were yet surrounded by a noisy crowd, but this time it was the politicians who sought to appease the new authority in Swordland. I spent a few hours shaking hands during various conversations, some serious, some superficial, and making speeches. We finally settled down at the dinner table with the Vectorns just as the band started to play some slow jazz tunes. Oh, that was tiring. You have to get used to it. If I have to shake another hand again. Suddenly a loud bang. What the fuck? Suddenly a loud banging noise echoed from outside the ballroom, then another and another. The musician stopped playing, everyone in the room looking around in confusion. Peter and I turned towards each other, realizing dawn had both our faces. Fireworks? No gunshots! Soon as Monica heard the words, she longed from her seat. Shield Monica and the kids. I threw myself on Monica, Dina, and Franca to shield them. But what's happening? I knew it, we should have never come. Chaos broke out as some guests flung themselves under the tables and others ran towards the doors. Screaming, Dina burst into tears while Frank tried to comfort her, hiding fear in his own eyes. 3 more gunshots rang out loudly. Mr. President, are you alright? Carl Gresner, head of the Swedish police force, was running towards us with 3 more police officers in decorated uniform. They all had their guns drawn. As soon as he made it to us and saw that we were unharmed, he let out a big sigh of relief. I'm probably imagining, because if we got injured, it's probably his fucking head on the chopping block. Thank God! Status report. 1 second, Mr. President. He turned around to quickly to his men. Check the perimeter now. Paul, Johnson, follow my lead. We'll bring them to the safe room. Now turn to Monica, Evelyn, and the children, spoke in a softer tone. Do not worry, the situation is now under control. Please follow me. We promptly followed Carl through the winding halls and corridors of the palace. His men still had their guns drawn, which did nothing to ease the tension. On the way, Peter made an attempt to break the silence. What a fucking night. Shh, no, Peter. Carl turned to us with a serious face as we were about to round a corner. Quiet, please. I talk when I get nervous. Peter, shut up! Carl flipped the switch on the wall and a panel opened, revealing a hidden staircase leading up to a large reinforced door. Inside, a set of emergency lights flickered on. The safe room was comfortable and spacious, with expensive-looking leather sofas. Small security monitor on the wall displayed grainy footage of each room and polished. There was a boardroom and a pantry containing enough provisions to last us months. Monica and Evelyn sat the children down and started wiping their tears. Carl stepped away from us and made a few radio calls. When he was done, he returned to me and Peter. Do I have clowns for a security force? So what's the status? Carl suddenly cracked to life. Every second felt like an eternity as he pressed his ear to the receiver when suddenly he turned to us. Good news, we are not in any danger at the moment. The situation has been dealt with and the perimeter has been secured by the guards and the police. He glanced towards Monica, Evelyn, and the kids. If I may, sir, He gestured towards an even more private corner of the room and started speaking more quietly. This is what we know for so far. We have confirmed that 2 people were gunned down in front of the palace. The attacker is one of them, and we have reason to believe he was working alone. He fired 3 shots at a MP, 1 to the head and 2 at the body, instantly killing him. Presidential guards at the palace immediately shot and killed the attacker. He has not been identified yet and will require an investigation. The MP that was killed was Bernard Sarkaris, poet, novelist, short story writer, and communist politician. He joined the Red Youth, so he was a major politician member. The Grand National, the GNA. It's part of the... This is huge, Antoine. This will cause a lot of problems. A lot of problems. Pulled out 2 cigarettes and handed me one. Then he turned to Evelyn. Could hear him trying to reassure her that everything was going to be alright. Monica was still trying to tend to Dina, paced around mumbling that he should have stayed home. Comfort Monica. I said bestow my wife and children. Nothing like this is... We are safe. I'll make sure everything is going to be fine. I cannot make sure of anything anymore, Antoine. I lit my cigarette and took a deep breath, as I was doing things to keep my family safe at all cost. I crushed the cigarette in an ashtray. Oh, why is the economy unstable? I guess it's gonna be bouncing between the 2, right? But... Connections. Just late. His education. He joined the Workers' Party. Interesting. Is that it? It does appear to be it. Let's see what the journal says. Turn 1. Does not make any mentions. Alright. Read the report. Security increased. Security measures at the capital have been heightened after the murder, but Nard Circus. The mayor of Holston reports that everything is under control. Security around the Moon Palace has been increased with the combined efforts of the Holston Police Department and the Presidential Guard. Additionally, the entrance procedures to the palace are being revised with advice from security professionals. The police chief, Carl, has reported that the investigation has been launched on the murder of Bernard Sicard. The mood of the situation room was gloomy. Oh, fuck! We got Interior, Justice, Peter! Lanka, Defense, and then Lucian. My cabinet members were gathered to discuss the shooting outside the palace. Lena's presented the initial report. Bernard Sicard was shot dead at 9:03 p.m. in front of the palace gates. He was an elected independent member of the assembly and, as you know, a famous communist. He spat the last word with some distaste. The guards at the scene were 50 meters away and immediately took action by responding and killing the assailant, who was identified as a member of the nationalist organization Young Swords. So the communists and the fascists are fighting. Okay. We kind of figured this out in the previous episode, but yeah, it seems like that's kind of happening even more now. The president and his family were unharmed. Praised God. MP shot nearby is an absolute unacceptable. I agree. We are reevaluating our security measures. However, the recession has affected my ministry negatively. This may well create a dangerous atmosphere where the left versus right political violence of the 20s could spark once again. A return to those days would be devastating. The coups are the reason why our country stagnated for a decade. Nina Morgan, the Ministry of Justice, sighed. The Red Youths have condemned the killing, but didn't stop there. They promised revenge. This will in turn spark further aggression from the Young Swords. The whole cycle started because Bernard expressed his views. We simply cannot look away. Nina had always been one of the members of the Justice who truly deserving the name. She had survived countless attacks on her character while fighting corruption within the ministry, and rising to power had only compounded her sense of moral duty. Freedom of expression is part of our constitution. We cannot have anyone, let alone an MP, shot for voicing different opinions. I fully agree we should protect the freedom of speech. Our laws do, and for good reason. Silencing voices only results in fear and stagnation inside society. We had that before and we know very well how it was. I hear your concerns. Our police do their best to uphold the rights of our citizens. We will prevent such an act from happening again by making sure our security measures are reevaluated. Grunted in approval. He towered over the rest of us in full military uniform. His many war medals, conspicuously suspiciously on display. Is he a member of the Old Guard? That's what I want to know. He doesn't seem to be a member of the Old Guard. Agreed, madam. Our general mentor area will always help boost security in the rural areas where possible. There might be more violence to come. We should refrain from making the issue a political one from the start. It will only add fuel to the fire. You're right, we need to defuse the situation. You're right, we need to calm the situation. Our government is capable of maintaining security. Our job will be to reduce tension. Several police cars rushed past the Moon Palace and everyone went silent. Regardless, a full investigation into all involved parties is underway. We will soon find the subversion and punish them soon enough, Mr. President. I'll do my best to help coordinate the administrative tasks. Justice will be served and the rule of law will return to this country stronger than ever. Only if we stay vigilant as a country, we must think about the upcoming budget. It's too soon to jump to conclusions. Reckless acts will have dire consequences. We should not lose sight of our real political goals, like the constitutional reforms. Because if we get stuck trying to focus on this, we might lose sight and not be able to help that. Agreed, these matters shouldn't distract us from what people want us to do. Lucian took some notes after checking the latest newspaper reports. It seems the tensions between the communists and nationalists will escalate further. It will be very difficult to pass any meaningful change if there are chaos in the country. We will make it through this and deliver our promises. Hell yeah, President Rene. This will be it for today then. We will convene again soon. Thank you for all and keeping us updated. The meeting concluded and the ministry left the room with concerned looks. It was hard to anticipate what would happen next. Oh, we have some reading to do. Ooh, we have some news to read. That's always a big fan of mine. Some more reading. Let's see if there's anything else to... Oh, there's a continue. Ooh. I'm curious what that continue means. Are we done with our first year of politics? That's a quick year. If that's the case. And assuming this... Well, let's read the news first. Hull Ancient Time. Murder at the palace! Breaking news! Bernard Saccard, a prominent independent MP known for his communist romanticism, has been murdered, leaving the Maroon Palace guards after the inauguration ball of Antoine Rene. Reports indicate a politically motivated assault by the far-right nationalists of the Young Swords. Shocking photographs have been leaked to the press showing blood-dripping stairs of the Maroon Palace. We heavily condemn this sort of political violence. This is the very cycle the president must break with reforms. So it is today. MP shot, nation in shock. Sorland has been shocked by the grave news today as an elected member of the parliament has been shot dead in the suspected political assassination. Police sirens were heard around the clock today as the Holston police force increased security measures around the capital. The fact that such a violent act occurred at the heart of the capital during the new president's inauguration ceremony has worried many citizens. The Red Youth has reported to have promised revenge. This seems like it has the potential to be the spark that would swirl Sorland into political violence of the 1920s. Rene calls for cooperation. President Rene gave signals about a cooperation with Franz Renard of the PFJP and Krasno-Kanaber of the National Front Party ahead of the inauguration ball. Regarding the remarks of Rector about a possible cooperation to fix the current problems of Sorland, we want the other parties to join him in this endeavor, said President Rene. Rector has long been vocal about his democratization plans, but maybe his demands for constitutional change might be finally realized if the President Rene lends a bill together with Rector's PFJP. Okay, let's see what this continue means. A few days later. Oh my. I do not... Oh no. There is a lot to look over. Read the report. Police overburdened in Suzerain. We have received reports of a lack of equipment and staff for the police force. I see. The police of this city need more supplies. The police are understaffed in this city. Illegal KA-74 seized. A cache found in Rumberg made of weapons including 40 7 brand new K-74s, 2854 bullets, 12 handguns, and 27 grenades and bomb-making equipment were found in the basement of an abandoned house in Ezra. No suspects have been detained. The Fuck, were they trying to launch a fucking coup or something? That's crazy. Read the reports. Sola Dam has reached its maximum capacity. The dam, a crucial element of the city, has been handling an enormous amount of pressure inflow recently with the reserve flow. The dam's operation efficiency. Maintain checks are being conducted to ensure the dam's safety. Illegal firearms found in Communist Party office. Fuck. Why? Young Sword's White Ring dead after terror attack. The Young Sword leader, Aika Roken, has claimed responsibility for the organized attack at the Buddhist market, resulting in the death of 7. His base of operation has been raided and he was found dead inside with 2 bullet wounds in the back of his head. The scene was organized to make it look like a suicide. We're not able to get the information about the location of the other relingers to Fuck. Looks like the Young Swords might have to be investigated for a little bit longer. Communist Party suspected of bomb attack. One further investigation, the leader of Valgan has been arrested in connection to the incident. Weapons seized in Central City. Fuck, oh my god, there's gonna be a civil war between the two. Fuck. Alright. The only way out of recession, bailing out businesses. Sorland's economy has been displaying an downward trend for over the past 2 years of Alfonso's presidency. If we want to prevent our country from declaring bankruptcy, we need a way out of this recession, and we need it now. The economy downturn keeps hitting hard at the businesses which are struggling to stay afloat. It is clear that a helping hand from the government is required to control the situation. There's no other way apart from bailing out businesses to truly provide relief to the economy. This in turn should revitalize the economy by creating more employment opportunities, increasing production. Shortest politician shot dead. A shortest poet and politician who has spoken out about the idea of the dictatorship of the proletariat was shot during the evening of Anton René's inauguration ball. Bernard Sicard, a 53-year-old shortish member of the assembly, was shot numerous of times by a gunman at the entrance of the Maroon Palace, who was identified to be a member of the Young Sorbs. Despite his radical views, Mr. Circle was elected to be an independent member of the assembly in 1953's election. Sadly, did not manage to live long enough to serve his duty. He was said to have repeatedly received threats from the Swedish nationalists, who viewed him as a traitor for promoting Melvinism in Sorland. Television footage showed the famous poets bowing face down, draped with a white sheet on the pavement of the front of the Maroon Palace. Lisa Graf said she had assigned a group of leading minister officials to lead the hunt for the killers. Once again, dark hands have chosen our country and spilled the blood in Holstein to achieve their dark goals, she said. She told a news conference, "We are investigating all aspects of this crime." His funeral will be held tomorrow in his home city, Drenner. The local police have reported to increase security measures for the ceremony and stand ready for a massive attendance. Lunch of time. Murder was a method of the past. The tension between the left and the right extremists have increased in the country after the assassination of Bernard Sicard. Protests of Malkinvist groups quickly turned into riots around the country. We're calling for peaceful protest and dialogue instead of violence. After the attack that promoted the violence, a member of Swords assassinating a member of the assembly clearly shows that they're willing to use extreme action, said Franz Richter in his speech in the Grand Assembly. We live within these borders together, and therefore we all bear a responsibility, a duty to live together with our differences. Richter's unifying message is something that we all should listen to in these times of danger of loss. The murder was a method of the past and has tainted us, reminded us of who we were before and we do not want to become in the future, said Richter, and stated that we, as the citizens of this nation, all bear responsibility beyond theological and partisan or any other identity. Sorland today. Unity despite differences. Sorland has 2 paths in the future, and this year is critical to deciding which path we will embark upon. Amid a recession, the lack of stability and security caused by the death of Bernard Sicard is an unacceptable reality. We need more jobs and a safer environment if our country is supposed to grow and prosper, but how will we increase our employment and open the streets if there's blood flowing down the streets? Sorland would never reach its goal as an advanced society if we descended a downward spiral to splintering our nation. Peace and prosperity now and forever. Alright, let's see what the radicals gotta say. Farewell, Bernard Sicard. It is a sad moment for Sorland. We have lost a renowned poet who not only wrote about the struggles of the working class, but also acted on them. However, his decision to enter Swedish politics was met with a sick attack that ended his life. This indeed intended as a message to oppose all voices in Sorland. We, the team here at the Radical, condemn this evil act of terror of the young swords, who we believe must be held accountable as a whole group. It is finally the time for the government to realize this organization as a terrorist threat and serve the justice that is due. Bernard Saccard has always going to be in our hearts as the great swordist poet, as a revolutionary, as a leader of the swordist avant-garde, as a futurist, as a romantic, as a Melvinist, and beyond that, as a symbol of freedom of speech. He is now a man who was murdered for speaking his mind. This cannot remain as yet another political murder of the sad reality of Sorland. In fact, it is time for change. It is time to speak up as people. The most beautiful sea hasn't been crossed yet, said the great poet, reminding us to always have hope. And we must strive to have hope and to make them a reality. It is the best way to honor his memory. Bernard Saccard will be laid down in Jone tomorrow. Any citizen who wants to pay respect is invited to attend. Vesland land labor unions drive further decentralized economic growth, empowers workers. Building upon the foundation of Vesland socialism inspired by Imre Camel's revolutionary idea, labor unions are spearheading the next phase of decentralized economic growth and worker empowerment in Versland. This unique form of socialism, emphasized a federal economic organization of society, continues to reshape the nation's political and economic landscape. The Versland Workers' Cooperative, fucking hell, a successful example of Versland's socialism in practice has led to a remarkable 17% increase in productivity and impressive 33% rise in worker satisfaction. Encouraged by the results, calls for the expansion of decentralized structures across various sectors of the economy have granted momentum. In light of these successes, the Minister of Labor has recently unveiled a new initiative in Helm aimed to expand infrastructure, promote scientific and technological advancements. We believe in the principles of Veterans socialism offer a sustainable and equitable path for our nation's future, said in a press conference. As Villen moves forward with Emmerich's vision of decentralized egalitarian society, the nation is solidifying its position as a leader in socialist thought and policy making, both at home and abroad. With the labor unions at the forefront of this movement, the ongoing development of the Venezuelan socialism offer to promise blueprints for other nations seeking to implement similar reforms. Arcadia PMC descends on Marabou amid source extraction controversy. In the midst of a politically unstable situation in Marabon, the largest Acadian private military corporation, Palantor Security Solutions, the PSS, has employed its forces to research rich nation. Sources revealed the Acadian PMC has been contracted by several multinational corporations to secure and extract value resources amidst the chaos. Marabon, a country in the continent of Rica, has been grappling with internal strife and weak governance, leading to a power vacuum. This has opened the doors for foreign investors to exploit the situation and extract the abundant resources present within, such as oil, minerals, and rare earth metals present within Marabou's borders. Reports suggest that the PSS has already established several forward operating bases near key resource extractions, raising concerns about the long-term implication on this move on Marabou's sovereignty. Oh, there's more outside stuff? The leader of Angola has diplomatically critiqued the imbalance of trade between our countries. Concerns were raised over how much of Sorland's profits from net trade in comparison. Request a fair re-evaluation of existing trade treaties in future negotiations. Warns traders. The latest diplomatic message from the leader warns those regarding a pathway of the Mountain of Bernia that allows traders of the state escaping to Sorland. President Workers Small has demanded that the border security has to be increased. He also sent his best wishes about handling the protests in Sorland. Read the report. The reports of BFF activity in the capital. The chief of police, Cardinal Guzna, has reported that two bloodist women have affiliated with the Bloodist Freedom Front. Has been caught in Holston before they could execute a terror attack at a crowded rally. Both women are listed as wanted criminals and enemies of the state. The arrested women have admitted their intentions to attack the National Front Party's rally at Sorland Square, where Krasnodar gave his speech but rejected any connection to the BFF. Both claim that they were acting alone. Police reports that the situation is under control and further investigation are underway. Security briefing of the threats against Sorland. Arrived at the front doors leading into the Situation Room. Today's security briefing was arranged in two parts, starting with internal matters and moving to an external matters after a short break. The Minister of Interior, Graf, and the Minister of Justice and Law, Nina, would be joining us for the first part, the law enforcement briefing. For the second part would be Lankia and then Kruger. Kruger's an old guy, part of the old guard, if I remember correctly. Up in the door, Lucian, Nina, and Leas rose from their seats. Sir, please take your seats. Everyone in the room sat down except for Lucian, who put on his glasses and went through the documents in front of him, shortly after he raised his head to address the attendees. Mr. President, ladies, we will kick off today's meeting with an internal security briefing. I'm assuming everyone has already been over the agenda. We have a very busy schedules, so without further ado, I will jump into our first topic. As we feared, political atmosphere has worsened. The reports around the country indicate that tensions are rising as we feared. What is the status of Bernard Sakar's investigation? We have received word this morning that the investigation into the murder has concluded. Please enlighten us. The more we know, the better. After further investigation and testimonies, we have confirmed the motives and also the events leading up to the shooting. A few days prior, members of the Red Swords initiated a violent attack on the Yard Sword leader, Jone. We believe the Young Swords then called for revenge, leading to the death of Mr. Sakata. Since Yavin spoke against the Young Swords and nationalist sentiment in this, certainly he was a big target, not to mention his radical communist views. Radical? Sorland just lost a great fighter, and for what? It is unfortunate, but it is likely that an incident would happen. Handed over the report and pointed to a highlighted section. The investigation revealed a very troubling fact. The funding sources of the Red Youth has been clearly linked to United Kantana. Is this proof that... What does this mean? That the communist superpower is meddling in our affairs. Several younger members with ties to United have been detained, and information extracted from them points to a preparation for a communist uprising. This isn't unusual for superpowers to influence other nations, but I think this case is a little far-fetched. The left lacks popular support in Sorland. I went over the report and the details. It would be wrong to jump to conclusions about a clear foreign interference yet. United Kantana has humanitarian and cultural ties to many countries, including Sorland. I also don't want to jump to conclusions immediately. We shouldn't create a crisis with them. Nearly 3 decades ago, they funded General Ricard and tried to establish communist dictatorship in our country. If it is not for Colonel Sol, we would have seen the real crisis. She took a sip from our glass of water and continued. Our police chief, Gresner, has linked the funding channel to Unika's consulate in Befin. As we all know, the enemies of Sorland are many, but we also have many threats inside the country. We need to remain vigilant as people in a nation. If we give up essential freedoms to purchase necessary security, we deserve neither freedom nor security. This is debatable, but yes, we know what more security and surveillance cause to a country under President Sol. Let's not forget the President Sol, God bless him, brought stability after a long period of bloodshed, but moving on. Our highest internal threat comes from the established 20,000 strong Buddhist Freedom Front led by the imprisoned Darwin Ager. They are a banned political organization, now a military force that is inciting racial violence. They make a lot of noise but have little substance. Barking on does not bind. Are they supported by Buddhist citizens? To some extent. Luckily, they couldn't attract a wide audience of Buddhists, but there are potentially attract thousands of anti-Buddhist settlements, especially on Cordland. That points to a page in the report. Our intelligence inside 2 crates full with weapons close to Rumberg border. They were filled with military aid KA-74s. We expect that more have been smuggled in. A group of Bloodists were caught with these guns at a checkpoint not so far away. The governor of Berkia, Felix Brong, has already taken the same measure to counter the threat. Rumberg has been acting aggressively in the region for a long time. I'm not surprised that they would attempt to weaponize the Buddhist people against us. This is very worrying. We make a declaration. Disrespected. We need to keep a level head with Rumberg. They are looking for reasons to take action. They will play dirty while we play nice. It is a battle we will lose. This is grave news, but we must be careful not to stroke the fires of anti-Bloodist sentiment. Unfortunately, Gevert Braun is directly causing the tension to increase with his increasingly anti-Bloodist stance. Must remind you, is directly responsible for the arrest for Derwin Iyer. It is true that his methods can be extreme at times, but it was his policies that kept the region peaceful over the last decade. He is misusing the power given to him by Tranquil Soul. The insane authority of a governor is not rude. So, it would be very difficult to revoke the special status of Beria under the current circumstance, Miss Morgana. The presidents no longer have the authority that Tranquil Soul enjoyed. For now, yes, but with enough justification for it, it would be possible. Anyway, we will be discussing this at a later time. Tell me more about the special zone. As you know, Bergia was given a special status by Tranquil Soul after the full-scale uprising by the BFF against the Swedish government in 35. Those few years were disastrous for Bergia. Derwin Iyer and the BFF declared war on us, openly attacked our people, and occupied entire cities. It was a massive uprising, but I'd like to point out that the longest time they were in control of a city was 2 weeks. I wouldn't call that an occupation. Despite the arrest in 44, the BFF ceasing its activities, the special status of the region was never revoked. Today, the special zone in Bergia gives the governor insane amounts of authority. He was in trouble with the law before, we're now following the central government's authority. Unfortunately, Bergia has its own police force directly under Bjorn. They are not part of my ministry and only cooperate when they are forced to do so. This is the problem. Even though our forces have the authority to serve in Bergia, the special zone leaves the security of Bergia mostly in the height of the governor. It leaves my hand tied. The discrimination covers Manning. We should find a way to revoke the special status. I'd rather not disturb the status quo while we're facing these threats. I agree, we shouldn't rush anything on such a divisive topic. What is the second most important threat? It is the gang violence that is threatening the Nargas and Angla region. Two prominent organized crime families are at war and the potential bloodshed is for real. Which two crime families? One is known as the Corelli, and the other are known as the Skinner Cartel. They used to be allies until a recent disagreement. Both were active in the cities Nabral and Nestor. They're playing with fire. I want them gone for good. I trust that you can handle them. I am doing my best, sir. Yes, Graf sighed deeply. I shall be honest with you. With our current capabilities, we may not be able to prevent the further arming of the separatists while maintaining order in Bergia and England. If the law enforcement budget isn't increased, we cannot fully responsible for having a police unit being threatened. In light of this information, I might increase the law enforcement budget. You will rid our country from separatists and violent thugs if you do so. I wish you would stop using the word thugs, Leia. The real problem is corruption, which is fueling the gang violence and is likely the reason why all the weapons were smuggled in. A higher budget could help end that. At the point, corruption is the root of all evil, after all. We can look into corruption once the weapons have been gone and the gangs have been beaten. Just like the previous administration, kicking the can down the road, this is what destroys our institution. Tell each other, Leia turns her back. Well, that concludes the topic of the eternal portion. Thank you for the updates, Miss Graf and Miss Morgan. Thank you for the overview. Have a good day. Until next time. Two ministers left the room. We took a short breath and continued to the second part. Upon invitation, Josef Lanka, along with 3 high-ranking officials from the Ministries of Defense, walked into the room. One of the men was no longer than General Kruger. Josef made his way towards the table while the others stood by the door. Mr. President. Josef, welcome. I brought General Kruger with me due to the escalation on our borders. General Kruger stepped forward and saluted. He had a strong jaw with a sharp cheekbone. His tall stature, uniform, and medals combined with his deep and intense stare made him look threatening. He was in his 70s, yet he had a bulky body that was the result of his commando training. Not only was he the second most decorative officer in Sorland, he was also the longest serving. He smiled at the gesture and bowed his head in respect. Josef tapped his foot in praying. He seemed uneasy with the presence of another high-ranking officer in the room. Gentlemen, thanks for coming to this significant gathering. Let's begin. Josef and Valken took to their seats at the table while the rest of the officers stood by the door. Mr. President, the situation at the western northern borders towards Rumburg is very tense. We are observing deployment of divisions close to our border. Rumberg has been acting increasingly expansionistic in the past couple decades and also interfered in Angola, and now they're turning their sights on us. What is your current strategy? Patrolling close to the border with our border forces and keeping our army reserves divisions nearby. It seems like they want to increase the pressure both externally and internally. Mr. President, if I may. Please, General. The picture is becoming clearer. The latest information from the interior about the weapon caches, and now there's active military buildup close to our border. The entire situation was analysis by our general staff, and our prediction is a future territory incursion by Rumberg. I have complete trust in the general staff. We will not let you down, Mr. President. The general staff is composed of the smartest military individuals. I required an increase in the military budget to enlist more soldiers. Only then can we stand strong against our enemies. The large armed forces will hold them at bay. Elkin is right. We do need to increase the military, although we don't see eye to eye on exactly how to spend the budget. That much we agree on. I have my concerns about Rumberg too. We need strong allies to withstand such a superpower. They are our nemesis. That is an understatement. Times are changing and war is coming, Mr. President. Whether we like it or not, we must be prepared. During the elections, you said nothing about focusing on the military. I asked you to reconsider and to increase our military budget. The future and safety of Sorland is in your hands. Maybe you are right. Defense of our nation is more important. I knew you would understand, Mr. President. Our forces would crumble under a decrease in Rumberg would be much more compelled to exploit our weaknesses. Our country hasn't fallen to any invading forces for 200 years. You cannot let that happen, Mr. President. We should find regional allies like Vincent Line and Vespia to deter Rumberg. There are several options at the table. These options should be considered. Could be considered, but why pander to others when we can solve these issues ourselves? We have no true friends outside these borders. Ministry. Excuse me, Mr. President. A few minutes he entered the room, his expression changed. Mr. President, there have been rampant military activity close to the Narbel border. I just spoke with the local commander. Valken, we should go to the military and get further updates from our branches. Understood. Raising military readiness is the first call of action. If there's truly any extraordinary attempt, we will relay it to you immediately and wait for further orders, Mr. President. Make sure you do. Remain calm. Make sure not to escalate things further. Nobody wants war. We will exercise utmost caution, Mr. President. Hail, Sorland. Hail. They saluted and left the room. Rumberg was already testing us, and the reports from the interior indicates interference inside our borders. Communist, nationalist, Buddhist rebels, Rumberg and spatialism. What was next? Sorland has always been a key piece in the chessboard of the global rivalry between Arcasia and United Cortana, but in the recent years there has been no such aggression from Rumberg, not on these levels at least. All it takes is one tiny spark to start the flames of war. The phone rang. To close their constituent. Fuck! Okay. That is where I'm going to leave it off for today's episode. The fires of war, there are riots. It is not looking great for us. We might have to start making some sweeping changes. So anyway, ladies and gentlemen, if you did like this video, please like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you all for the next one. Goodbye.